going to get it. I mean, I know that. I mean, hello, good morning. As we're live, get the, yeah. I mean, I think internet right now is. I know that YouTube is certainly were throttling back on the speeds that they were doing and stuff. I think others, Facebook and other people like that, they'll be having the same difficulties. They
I
won't be
haven't
geared up for it.
experienced I haven't experienced any difficulty being on the apps, but certainly just hooking on like this morning for me to check what was happening around the world with the coronavirus. It took me 2.5 hours to log on.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. To new sites. Yeah. Not.
So
You notice that it's. I mean, I'm all right. All right. I mean, my local connection to my local thing is really good, but when you get out onto the big wide world, depending on who's awake and that obviously everybody's at home. Millions of people are at home.
oh yeah. I'm patient about it. I rang my supplier, and spoke to them. So
well, just to check there wasn't any sort of local issues that things you need.
Yeah, they're going to send me a another router. So I spoke to 4 people. It took me 2.5 hours, 3 hours today to talk about it because I'm in a back section, so I can't get fiber optic because when they drill, they may drill through some of the plumbing or the electrical. They can't guarantee, Simon, that that they can lay the cables without hitting anything. If I was on a front section, it would be a piece of cake, but I'm not. So I have to be on the Wi-Fi. But what they're telling me, though, is the Wi-Fi is coming through. They can see it. There's nothing wrong with the Wi-Fi. It's just that I can't get it from the router. There's an issue. Now, I updated the router that they, one of the routers about 3 weeks ago, right, and that's had no effect. But apparently you can set the channel, and I didn't know anything about this. You can set a channel because if you set it automatically, apparently the signal or the Wi-Fi is jumping around trying to find the channel.
Right.
So the router that I've got, you can't adjust or edit or go through into the program and change the channel.
Put the IP address in your web browser and go into it.
Yeah. So we did all that, but we can't change the channel. So they're going to send one that can change the channel. So hopefully, my friend, I might be in the 21st century. No, I kid you not. I bullshit you not. It took me 2.5 hours to jump on to find out what was happening, with the coronavirus. And I'll admit it, I am interested in what's happening with this thing internationally.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. How's it going? And, I'm interested in, looking at all those maps of the growth and things. And
I want to read the headline that some guy in Bristol, some pharmacist in Bristol has found the cure.
I think that's some way off, but
and then we can all get back to work.
Well, it is an interesting point, isn't it? I mean, I know somebody, the son of my next door neighbour, Anne, who lives next door to me. Her son Andrew, he's had it now. He was off out yesterday. He posted a little video of him off out. Now, if you've had it and you're not contagious,
good.
What? Yeah, I mean, but my point is that there's nothing to stop you going out and carrying on your business as you did before, is there?
I don't know. Well, the thing is, here in New Zealand, you're pretty well marginalised, Simon, with who you're going to do business with because we're in a state lockdown unless you're an essential industry. So if you've got a machinery shop in Hamilton and you've had it and you're going to open your people aren't going to come to your shop, Simon, and buy.
Sure. Oh, I didn't. Yes, I didn't.
Buy stuff off.
Well, yeah, we've had quite a lot of industries where you can pull up outside and somebody will come out and take your order and kind of. I saw a brewery who were doing that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
An Englishman in their
beer
and their lager.
Yeah.
And their bevy.
Yeah, and her bevy. So you can turn up, flick your boots, and I'll put it in the back for you, and off you go. Yeah, I'd say the brewery was making beer, and it was making antiseptic wash wipes as well for free.
Oh, fantastic!
It wasn't charging them; it was using its equipment to make alcohol. The pumps for antiseptic hand wash, which they were doing.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah, they weren't charging for it, which is very cool of them. I wish I could remember their name because I'd shout them out otherwise. But I approve of that sort of altruism and those sorts of things. I think, hey, hats off to them for. And I
is
think
it a big brewery or just one of the boutique ones?
Little microbrewery,
awesome.
Place, and you contrast. I've spoken about it. So I know, well, you contrast that with people who just, like Tim, what's his face from Withers. We've got a chain of pubs in the UK.
Yeah. You were saying the other night, the bastard. He just did a video and said, "Piss off and go and get a job at the supermarket."
Go and get a job at the supermarket, and I'm afraid in my world that is just no, that's how not to treat your workers. That's not how not to do things in the slightest, I find that disgraceful myself. I find it distasteful, and things. It's, whereas, the smaller companies like that brewery, and, keeping their workers on, trying to get, keeping the business going somehow, doing stuff, online or whatever, like Anderton's, doing it online and things.
Good to see that you posted a guitar and your amplifier on the.
I'll post some more when tomorrow. Today I'll post some more. It's good. It caused a bit of a stir, didn't it? Everybody was posting their stuff.
It's fantastic. It's great.
That's really cool.
I didn't do anything with it for a couple of days, and I thought, I had nothing up my sleeve. So I thought, I'll go on a couple of groups and cut and paste it, and I even edited the post and went to a banjo forum that I'm on and took a couple of shots of my banjo and went on a bluegrass forum and
nice, yeah.
So
I forgot you're a bit of a bluegrass. How's the bluegrass going? Is it going along?
I was doing a bit of bluegrass today, but.
The old finger picking banjo bit, is that?
No. I've given that up. I've gone to. I'm playing clawhammer.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, what's a banjo tuned to? Is it anything like a guitar?
G. So open G.
Open G, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the 5 strings.
So G, C,
D, B.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So when you strum the banjo, you get the open G. So because I've been playing open G there with that Telecaster.
Yeah.
So
cool.
it wasn't difficult for me to pick it up. As far as navigating the fretboard.
D. Yeah, 5-string open G. Oh, it's the Keith Richards tune.
Yeah. So it's piece of piss.
Yeah.
So I've got this theory. You know how John Lennon was taught the banjo by his mum?
Yeah.
So John Lennon showed Keith Richards open G tuning. It was John Lennon.
It was John Lennon all along. He's to blame.
No, I can't prove that. We can't prove it.
No, it's not what it's certainly not what Keith said, was it? He didn't. Did he get a Raikuda or someone?
Oh yeah, well that's right, and it caused a bit of a fuss with Paul Trinker's book. When they were saying basically he called. I think we did a show on it. He basically called Keith Richards a bloody liar, but it fits into that whole thing of the Rolling Stones setting up this edifice that has minimal traces back to Brian Jones. He couldn't say, oh, Brian Jones showed me how to do it.
That's interesting, yeah. Do you think they've tried to sort of disassociate themselves from the Brian Jones thing a bit?
Well, Paul Trinker's argument in his book's pretty compelling, Simon. So he says he discovered open G tuning himself. He played Little Red Rooster in open G.
Yeah.
An open D, sorry. So are you telling me, hey Ed, are you telling me that Keith Richards, and they were tight back then, wasn't paying attention to the tunings.
No, completely. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. It's, and all those.
And then
blues guys that-
Rykuda comes along and shows them how to do it.
Yeah, possibly, and yeah, and all those blues guys. I'm sure all those blues guys you came across in the late 50s and early 60s. Some of them must have been playing in open tuning, weren't they? Open. Yeah, I'm sure blues is a big part.
All the blues guys were, but all the blues guys were playing an open E, open D. The resonator guitars over there, they're all in open tuning.
Tuning, yeah.
The unique thing with Brian Jones, though, Simon, is that he worked it out himself. No one showed him. He was the first guy in the UK to do it.
Right, yeah, I understand, yeah. So he thought, oh, I can tune this to a chord kind of thing.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's cool, yeah. Yeah, that's the trouble with those things, isn't it? History and, and the politics of people all mix up together, don't they, to not necessarily get to the truth of what something is.
Well, you got to give Brian credit, don't you? Where credit's due.
Yeah, completely, yeah. I think, great loss, really. I mean, Brian was obviously, could pick up an instrument, anything, and get something out of it, couldn't he? Which is pretty amazing.
Wow.
And also, as you say, work out tunings off the, off records is pretty cool.
Wow.
Like that, to figure out and go, oh, look, you could open tune your guitar to a chord and then work it out. That's what what I don't know, blind Melon Jefferson, blind Lemon Chillin is doing,
but then he got the harmonicas too and learned cross harp.
Yeah.
So he learned how to do that too, Simon.
Yeah.
So did he teach Mick Jagger how to play harmonica? Was Mick Jagger playing harmonica before Brian Jones?
I don't know. I've no idea.
He probably taught Mick how to play harmonica.
Yeah, because obviously live he couldn't do it all, could he? He didn't have the holder, the Bob Dylan harmonica. It's not Bob Dylan at all, but the Bob Dylan harmonica holder.
Yeah,
that's a thing. It's amazing. Talking of Bob Dylan,
that thing. It's not for braces too, people, by the way, and it's not an S&M device or anything like that. It's a bloody harp holder.
Can I say, man in a flat cap, never been associated with S&M equipment. I just like to put that in, It's like that's completely, yeah. But talking of Bob Dylan, have you seen that he dropped that new track?
No.
He's dropped this is Bob all over. He dropped a 17-minute track. It's amazing.
Oh, I'm gonna. So it's obviously it's on Spotify.
It'll be on. Yeah, it's and there's it's on YouTube as well. And it's called. I think it's called. Hold on, I'm gonna cock it up, do I? Yeah, he just dropped it out of the blue this week, and it's called Murder Most Foul, and it is 17 minutes long. It's amazing. It's an astonishing track. I mean, that's it. It starts off with a whole load of stuff about JFK, the assassination of JFK in Dallas, but it then goes off into.
So it's pretty cool. Is it worth checking out?
God, yeah. Put your headphones on, sit back and relax, and
16 minutes and 50. Wow. 16 minutes and 54 seconds.
Yeah.
So how did you lock onto that? Did it come on your feed?
I just saw it and I thought, sometimes you're just mucking around, and I thought, Bob Dylan's dropped a new track. What's that? It's like, he piqued interest. So I went off and sure enough, there's a Guardian article about it, a British newspaper, The Guardian.
Wow.
and so off that as a YouTube thing, and so I got my headphones on, sat back, played some great sound. It's just kind of, it's basically a 3 chord thing, but it's like 70. It's amazing kind of litany of artists and people and stuff, and just
Is it a new song, Simon? It's not an old song.
Yeah, well, it's new. It's never been released before. But when it was recorded, is a bit, as ever with Bob, is a bit shrouded in mystery. You know, it's typical Bob. It's like God love you. He only lets out what he wants to let out. You know.
Hey, Arvin.
Good morning, Arvin. How you doing? Hope you're good. It's, it says, "Greetings to my fans and followers with gratitude for all your support and loyalty across the years. This is an unreleased song we recorded a while back that you might find interesting. Stay safe, stay observant, and may God be with you." Bob Dylan, there you are. And then off he goes.
So, Arvin, we're just talking about a new song that Simon alerted us to that Bob Dylan dropped a couple of days ago. 17 minutes of listening pleasure, apparently.
It's cool. Well, it depends if you like Bob Dylan or not, but, Murder Most Foul.
I
love Bob Dylan,
but
I understand if people don't. Isn't it?
Simon, there are songs I like and songs I don't like of Bob Dylan, but generally speaking, I don't mind them.
No, but it's and the Great Vanzini. Good morning, Great Vanzini. How you doing?
Good to see Great Vanzini. Glad you jumped on, because Simon and I will probably do another show in another couple of days' time, because I'm not going anywhere. So if you want to jump on, and we'll give you a bit of homework. So Simon and I probably want to hear, and some of the other guys in the chat, a little bit more about your story, your musical journey. So if you want to give that some thought and jump on and share it with us, the invitation is there.
Yeah, Arvin, it's a nearly 17 minutes song, Bob Dylan song. It's amazing. Just put it out this week, and it's starts off. Some of it's about the Kennedy assassination in Dallas, but
hey Dave,
it also goes off on all sorts of other Dylan-esque, if I may make so bold, tangents and stuff and all sorts of things. Yeah, it was beautiful. I love Bob Dylan, but so. For me, it was a beautiful thing. I mean, he's not released any original songs for I don't know, 7 or 8 years. 2012, Tempest.
So while Dave is here,
good morning, Dave. How are you? I hope you're good.
Show you guys something. I haven't got around to doing this yet, but it's always something that's in the back of my mind about talking about some channels that we watch. But Dave flicked me a link to this channel here. So if you guys just give me 2 seconds, it's called The Guitar Show.
Yeah, Bob talks about Beatles guitars and basses. Yeah, just pull him out
now,
a bit.
Bob is he's a gentleman, but there's also another guy who actually runs the channel, a guy called Ramon Goose. So if you guys in the chat want to check out The Guitar Show, and he's got some outstanding videos on different guitars, on John Lennon's guitars, on Peter Green. It's just amazing. So jump on now or your next show either. Simon and I are only going to be talking on this show here for about just an hour, and I think Vanzini
we might need more than that.
we might need 3 hours. So the next show, but we're going to go live in a couple of days, Simon? Today's Monday, so in a couple of
Wednesday?
days.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
Let's do Wednesday, Brit Mazzini, and
does that suit?
We've come to. That's interesting. Yeah, I'll check that out. Check it out.
That channel's great. Yeah, good. Yeah, it is, Arvin. Yeah, no, it's awesome channel. But there's when we do a channel review, and the only reason why I want to do the channel review is there's a lot of good channels out there that are linked to the subject matter that we talk about. So just sharing the information. So
Yeah,
so
great,
Vanzini's
yeah.
on. He's on.
Yeah, for
He's
Wednesday.
going to be on in a couple of days.
I'm sitting at home waiting. Yes, I know what you mean, Graham. Yeah, we're all sitting at home waiting, aren't we? Well, it was something. It's quite odd.
But yeah, if you want to get your thinking cap on and think about some, I know what it's like when you bang straight into a show or doing a presentation. You can't think of everything maybe that might be appropriate to the subject, but if you want to think about something, have a couple of guitars, because I think we spoke about that too, Simon. He was going to show us a couple of guitars. So
yeah, some guitars and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
So love to hear from you. And also too, Dave, there's always an open invitation for you to jump on. We won't growl you.
Yeah, Dave. Oh, that's David Ennis. Morning, David Ennis. How you doing? Hope you're good.
Dave.
Staying safe.
Yeah. So how are guys going in the chat too? Do they want to just put some comments in there? How are things going? Is the lockdown working? Is the quarantine working? Are people out there breaking the quarantine? Are the cops involved or what? Let's try and beat this.
Yeah, beat it together.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that we check in, each other's, because it's a weird thing for your mental health, isn't it? Being locked away, kind of thing. Not going out from, you go out to take a dog for a walk, but I like that. But yeah, not really going out at all. I went to the supermarket on Saturday, drove my car for the first time in a week.
Yeah,
it's very odd.
Hey, Sonia.
Good morning, Sonia. How you doing? Hope you're good. Hope you're staying safe.
Yeah,
we want to know.
And no earthquakes.
God, yeah. Does Sonia live in California? Sonia in California.
Last time she was on, a couple of shows she was on.
Did she having an earthquake at the same time? God, I hope you're all right. Blimey, no police. Yeah, great imagine. Yeah, same for us, really. Well, I live in the country, so it's not likely to be much in the way of the police, but but yeah, Sonia lives in Texas. Is that a great earthquake state, Sonia? Perhaps it is.
Carl spent a bit of time in Texas, and he loved it. He just couldn't get over how literally everything is big in Texas.
Literally. Quite literally.
Yeah.
He arrives at the border, arrives at the Texas one,
he won't mind me telling you this story, but he got pulled up not long after he hit America for a traffic offence, and anyway, he didn't have some documentation, so they threw him in jail. Now, they don't muck around in Texas.
They don't anywhere.
They threw him in jail with all these like really, really bad guys. See, here in New Zealand, if you break the law, they throw you into different categories of prisons, so they won't throw you in with the murderers and the rapists and the drug dealers if you
You remember the car crime peeps?
Yeah. But in America and Texas, they don't give a damn. They threw him in there, and again, this isn't being smart or cheeky. It's just telling the story as it was told to me.
Yeah.
There were a lot of Mexicans in there, and the one thing that saved Carl was because there was a guitar. So Carl played the guitar. So he was playing the guitar for 12 hours, and that's what.
Oh, you mean keep playing, keep placated.
Yeah. So that's what. So he had a lot of friends after a couple of hours because he could play the guitar. So it may not make a fortune for us, but if we get thrown in a jail, and there's a guitar there, Simon, it may save you from getting the bash.
I'll remember that, and I'm going to learn the new Bob Dylan song because they're 17 minutes straight off. With a bit of an intro, or I could go half an hour, just a one song. it's my brother. My brother did a thing, obviously from the UK, and he went to a shop and he did typically, and there wasn't anybody else, not a very big shop. Of course, in America, they all have like parking spaces outside.
Yeah, yeah.
There wasn't anybody else there. So he just pulled up across the parking spaces, right? Got out and went in the shop. And when he came out, he nearly got arrested by the police because obviously, if you're parking sideways on, you're looking for a quick getaway. So they thought he was doing a robbery. Not some dumbass Englishman, but he not just paying attention to the way the lines are. I only went in for some milk, Ah, officer, I only went in for some milk. Is there a problem?
Yeah. It was phenomenal. Like Carl had,
funny.
he was working on some construction sites, and yeah, he made it very clear to me in America, you don't argue with the police officers. It doesn't matter who you are. You don't.
No. Although I've seen videos of people being quite vigorously arguing with the police officers. You think, blimey, I wouldn't be arguing with a man with a gun, but
No. I wouldn't either. It'll be yes, sir. No, sir. 3 bags full, sir.
Well, I mean, to be honest, you don't argue with them. You don't even argue with them here, to be honest, because it's not, because the escalation is all on their side. It's like, well, I'll just,
I'll bang you over my head with my baton, Simon.
I've had worse offers.
Yeah.
It's that's funny that don't get involved with the police. Well, police. It's like people with guns, isn't it? Police with guns. It's like this. I mean, Europe is the same. Lots of the lots of the police that have guns and stuff. And that's Sonny got side arms. Have you? A pair of Colt. I imagine you with a pair of Colt 45s, in a holster, one on either leg. That may be mythologizing it a bit. Can't even say it. Mythologizing.
Yeah, well, see, here in New Zealand, we have the state, and it's called, in a derogatory way, the nanny state, because the state tells you everything that you can and can't do here in New Zealand. But there's another little story that Carl told me, and I don't know how relevant it is today because laws change. But he was saying that in Texas, if you ride a motorbike, Simon, you can choose to have a helmet or not. If you have an accident, tough. It's your fault. But here in New Zealand, here in New Zealand, you can't ride a motorcycle without a helmet. If you do, you'll get pulled up. But in Texas, apparently.
Me too.
Oh well.
I mean, here too. I mean, I can't remember. I think helmets came in the mid-70s in the UK.
Oh yeah. Easy.
We've had it for a long time. I mean, whenever I rode a motor, I had a motorbike when I was, in the mid, and certainly helmets were certainly legal. You couldn't ride a motorbike without a helmet, even when I was, and this is back in the late 70s, mid to late 70s.
Yeah, I was riding a bike in the mid 80s, and you had to have a helmet. It was just there was no discussion, Simon. You want to ride a motorbike? Put a helmet on.
Do you think that's got something to do with the in the UK we have the NHS. One of the ways to stop so many bike accidents and treating a lot of bike people is for them to wear a helmet. So in effect, you're trying to take the problem out at source. So if you're wearing a proper motorcycle helmet, you're less likely to get a head injury. Therefore, I'm less likely to have to treat you for it.
Okay, Sonia, so you're asking a very good question because that's the whole idea of why Simon and I are here.
Yeah.
But there's a question I want to ask you guys in the chat and Simon too. So a couple of shows ago, Carl and I spoke about a guy called John Mayall, not John Mayer, John Mayall.
Not John Mayall, not to be confused with John Mayer.
Yeah.
That's a lovely idea.
And You know what's interesting about that guy? Obviously, you know John Mayall and you know the Blues Breakers with Eric Clapton, and he was responsible for getting Peter Green on board and Mick Taylor, Simon. But I went and watched that DVD, 16 Steps.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, 16 Steps to Rockland again. And they were talking about Alexis Corner and Cyril Davis.
Yeah.
So why doesn't Cyril Davis get the love that he should probably deserve?
That's true. He doesn't, and he's not. I mean, certainly Alexis Corner does, doesn't he?
Yes, but Cyril Davis, no.
No, is that because he died young? So he died in '64, and
Okay.
I think that's probably the reason why that that in a sense, because Alexis Corner in the UK, Alexis Corner became the godfather of British blues, and
Yes.
he like, for instance, he had a radio show in the '70s, yeah, on Radio One, you know, in the days when you were on Radio One, which is, for those of you who don't know, BBC has 5, 6 radio stations, lots more than that. But in the old days, it had its pop station was Radio One, but it was a lot more diverse then than it is now, and it would have things like Alexis Corner doing a blues program in the evenings, and it had you know John Peel doing the Perfume Garden in the late '60s. It was very kind of psychedelic, and they would and all sorts of other album shows and all those sorts of things. So it's quite wide. And he obviously gets a lot of kudos for that. But you're right, but Cyril Davis died in January '64, so basically up to '63. But you see, he's the same age, well, pretty much the same age as John Mayall. They would have been the same age. And I think it's like one of those things. It's a longevity thing, isn't it? If you were alive until Alexis Corner died in the '80s, I think.
Oh, I think that's one of the good things then about your British social historians and musicologists and blues lovers in the UK, with their archaeology now and the legacies that they're talking about. You know, the Ealing Club is a physical place that people went to, so they're talking about characters who went there. So at least 50 years later, they're acknowledging these guys, aren't they? Which is, again, admirable.
Completely, yeah. It's it is. But you're right. It is interesting that Cyril Davis does not get the kudos for being partners with Alexis Corner and and obviously playing as well. Doing that playing stuff. Interestingly, I think possibly also being a harmonica player. Slightly less, but you could say he's the father of British blues harmonica for sure.
Oh, definitely. So, who's the lead singer from the Animals? Burden?
Eric Burden. Okay. Yeah.
So Eric Burden said that when he heard and saw Cyril Davis for the first time play a harmonica through a mic, through an amp, he heard an Englishman playing Chicago blues,
yeah,
and Delta blues right in front of him at the same time. It was the blues. It was like, wow, it's not through a record, Simon. Simon, you're actually playing it.
Yeah, for live.
So again, we go back to this live venues. What is it about you English guys over the centuries, certainly since rock and roll, since the end of the war, where venues and live it's just a big deal for you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it always was. I mean, pre-war, post-war, there was still the kind of jazz swing. 40s is jazz, is swing. Benny Goodwin and orchestras, swing orchestras, and dances and stuff like that. I mean, that's, and you kind of forget, don't you? It's that people like Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra was like, he was the sort of teen pop idol of his day.
Sure.
girls chased him down the street and screamed.
I've seen YouTube clips of it.
You've seen, it's astonishing, But,
the teeny boppers.
teeny boppers in the same way as, they chased the Beatles down the street and screamed at them too, to me, there's no difference at all, except that obviously
One Direction, running down the street,
running down the street being chased by girls. God, missed out again.
Well, at least if you get thrown in jail, Simon, and there's a guitar there, at least you can at least play.
Yeah, at least I can thrill all the girls by playing 17 minutes of Murder Most Foul. I don't think this is going to get me laid, frankly. But mine do, but oh dear. So I think that it's so dance is certainly in the UK, because they're places to meet women. Let's be fair.
Sure. And drink beer with your mates.
Drinking with your mates, and going out, and those things, those things happened all the way through. And of course, lest we forget, I'll go back to my hobby horse, but the Bugs Henderson's material. I don't know Bugs Henderson at all. Great Manzini. Wow. Check that out.
Check it out.
He's a boogie woogie guy, is he? Great Manzini. Like Pine Top Perkins and those guys. Albert Allens and Pete Johnson. They are, let me see. My list of boogie woogie pianos is quite short. But so I think that just come back that obviously the roots of British rock and roll and stuff like that come out of skiffle, and skiffle comes out of jazz. So people play. Lonnie Donegan famously was playing with Chris Barber. And they were doing jazz gigs. And then in the interval they would do skiffle. So you've got that, but we still talk about going out to clubs, dances and stuff like that, and going to see things. I mean, I know my dad used to. Ian Stewart,
Nicky Hopkins. All right, here we go then.
Elton John. No, I'm just being facetious. I'm sorry. Yeah, Nicky Hopkins and stuff. But the that thing about that it was about going out, and obviously people went out and they did gigs everywhere, because otherwise if you've got dance halls and you've got hotels will have function rooms and dance halls they want to fill, you need bands, you need musicians to do it. Therefore you've got a market, haven't you? I'm in Bristol. We've got lots of hotels and all sorts of things, and with ballrooms and stuff like that. Well, you need bands to fill those ballrooms,
Yep.
And so I think probably there were certainly those jazz places to play.
So basically, there were always venues. There were always venues for a social, So I
think what the blues bit thing did is it brought gigs into pubs. I think that's what happened, and I'm pretty sure I read about the Yardbirds, Eric Clapton, where they were practicing in a pub, and then they were just going to. I think that is at that point in that people in pubs started to have bands. So in effect, you had a mushrooming of the number of places that local bands could play, which carries on to today. Playing local pubs, kind of thing. But I don't think it's quite difficult to get Benny Goodman into the King's Head, if you see what I mean.
Sure, but you can
sure
get a drum
kit that did it,
and a bass player and a harmonica player and a singer and a couple of guitar players in the corner, and you can squeeze them in there.
Squeeze them in, and off you go. As so I think these things start working. You've got smaller groups. Chris Barber wasn't huge, but you've got smaller groups, and then they can get into pubs. Go, maybe we could put on something here.
Well, they
Something for
talk
the
about
youth.
Chris Barber quite at the beginning of that Suburban Steps. Like they do, again, so they're paying homage to him. But what's really interesting though is that these jazz guys and blues guys themselves went and opened that venue, that Ealing Club, Simon. So they were playing.
Yeah,
They were playing like you were saying in pubs, and realised, well, actually, we could actually get a captive audience and bring them in. So they found the club, and I think correct me if I'm wrong. I only watched it a couple of days ago, but I can't remember it all. But I think that they got someone in to sell the beer, and they just provided the music, which is basically all the guys really gave a shit about, really, wasn't it? Was just playing the music.
yeah, of course, yeah. It's when Dave, they were Charlie Watts and Ginger Baker.
The jazzers, yeah.
Ginger Baker jazzers, yeah, came out of the jazz tradition, yeah, definitely. So you great
And Jack Bruce.
Yeah, Jack Bruce as well, of course, yeah. Famously jazzers with Eric, who wasn't a jazzer. There they are. I see. When we talk about big rooms, I don't see my point exactly.
Same thing in America.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so dance halls, huge. Because I think as soon as you've got, yeah, I don't know, Arvin. America has. Does Arvin live in America?
Canada.
It's a whole different ballgame. No, it isn't. But you have bars and stuff like that. Those have been going since. I've certainly read of, since the 60s, aren't they? People played in bars in the 60s and stuff. I don't know about the 50s. I don't know whether sort of, bars, music bars came about in the 50s.
So Dave's saying that the documentary's on Sky Arts, Simon, if you haven't seen it.
I'll check it out. No, I will check it out. It's Suburban Steps to Rockland.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's wonderful. I take my hat off to you guys, Simon. Because it was the Ealing Arts Council that funded the documentary, but the research is meticulous. You can tell clearly right from the beginning that it's a very, very good documentary. Take my hat off. Take my hat off to you guys, because you're acknowledging your musical heritage before it goes, because they interviewed Jack Bruce on there, who's passed away. They're Mike Vernon. They're talking to Mike Vernon, who's getting on a bit. Eric Burden. They're interviewing him. John. These guys aren't young men, Simon.
No, they aren't. No, absolutely. And interesting. I was it's a bit of a tangent, but it kind of fits in. Do you know Lee Anderton does the Captain Meets? Does those, and they're released on a Sunday. Well, he did the Captain Meets his dad, Pete Anderton, the guy who started Anderton's.
Oh, when was that?
It's yesterday. Came out yesterday.
We were only talking about that a couple of shows ago.
Well, here's two things for you from it. Okay, two things. One is Pete Anderton was in the same year at school as Peter Green.
Bullshit.
Really?
Really?
Yeah. You watch it. Yes, absolutely.
So Vanzini even likes watching them. Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
Thank
really
you, my
good.
friend.
Oh yes, it's a fantastic kind of, a life in the music shop business. The ups and downs and turns around, how you started, and really good. So it's really worth a lot. The second thing is that would be of even greater interest is that Pete Anderton said that somebody's writing a book about Peter Green.
Now?
Yeah, now.
Oh, they've kept that one undercover, haven't they? Because I'd like to think that I've got a sniffy little nose for things Peter Green.
Yeah, all things Peter Green. I thought, look, Andrew will be interested in that. Yeah, somebody's writing a book about Peter Green. as well.
Okay, so I'm going to definitely watch that. So someone's writing, because there's a book that came out, and I've got it here somewhere in 1995, which needs severely updating. You know,
Yes,
when was
indeed.
that? 25, 30 years
no,
ago?
25 years ago, Andrew. Don't.
25. Okay. So, and it had its limitations, but at least it got a lot of
Told the story.
information out
Yeah,
there
yeah.
for guys like me in 1995 when we didn't have access to the internet, you know. So, but oh, that's interesting. I'll definitely watch that. Thank you.
It's really worth watching. It's a really interesting story. He has lots of stories and lots of. But
apparently, Dave.
They are going to release it as a DVD, are they? As a.
From what I've heard, apparently they have. Oh, well, they will.
Good. It's give him some money. It's
Well, we spoke about this a couple of shows ago, didn't we, Simon?
Yeah.
About and I had a bit of a whinge and a whine about some of the Fleetwood Mac fans out there. Now these are dedicated fans who got a little bit upset with the whole idea of Mick Fleetwood having the show, and some people jumped on social media and said, "But Peter Green is still alive. Who the heck does Mick Fleetwood think he is?" And fans like me and other guys were jumping on there saying, "But this is a perfect time to give a tribute while the guy's alive.
Before he's dead." Yes.
Yeah.
That's really all the way. Why don't you acknowledge him before he died? Not say what a wonderful fellow he was, but only after he's dead, so he'll never know.
They asked him if he wanted to come along. Yeah, Mick said, "Do you want to come? Do you want to play?" And he said, "No, you guys go and do it."
Yeah. I'm good. See, I'm fine. Fine, not doing it. It's and I completely go with that. As long as you asked him.
Yeah.
But as long as you asked him, and if he said no, you guys carry on. What?
Mick loves Peter Green. He loves him, Simon. In his biography, he dedicates 3 chapters to Peter Green. He calls him his captain.
Yeah.
He said that he wouldn't be there today alive if it wasn't for Peter Green.
Yeah. Oh, and I think undoubtedly, fantastic guitar player, but also a fantastic kind of composer. Took that basic blues thing and took it in a whole load of other places, all sorts of other things. And like a lot of these things, shone brightly for 4 or 5 years, and then then sort of faded. But let's not forget the brightness when it was there.
I was listening to Red Hot Jam on in Chicago when I was walking my dog earlier. And if you guys haven't checked out that Red Hot Jam, Fleetwood Mac, check it out. And the guitaring, it's just, it's so, oh my gosh. I love it, Simon.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. It's, Wednesday, no, he wasn't there.
No.
But apparently, Andrew just said that he did ask, Mick Fleetwood asked Peter Green if he wanted to come and play. He said, "No, you carry on." Well, that's fine. So I'm good with it. I think it's a thing of age, isn't it? There's a whole lot of things you just don't care about, and as long as people have been asked and protocols,
what do you think? What do you think about Kirk Hammett turning up though? That was pretty cool, eh?
I think that's pretty cool. I think it is. I think he brings out his greeny guitar, comes and plays. Well done.
Yeah.
Kirk. Doesn't sit back in his LA mansion and kind of I think that's pretty cool. And I have to say, do you see that Kirk Hammett war off with Mrs. Smith? I mean,
yeah.
I take my hat off to Kirk Hammett for recognizing that, because he gets a massive amount of stick, doesn't he, from all and sundry. I don't know about that, Arvin. I don't know. People have, I mean, in the world of showbiz, God, there have been tribute nights to all manner of people who, I mean, I don't know if you remember, there's a program called This Is Your Life on British television for years. that was all about tribute to people, and certainly in the 90s and stuff, and they had kind of tribute nights to all sorts of show business figures.
I think what we have to remember too is that
Rod Stewart comparatively recently.
So sometimes we forget, that a guy like Kurt Hammett isn't a fan. Sometimes we forget that, because he's a fan too. So apparently he was mesmerized about being on stage with a lot of these English guys, who being a guitar player over the years, he knows who these guys are. He knows. Yeah. So he's standing on there playing with Billy Gibbons, a fellow American, and then, some other English guys. So Mick Fleetwood, he's Mick Fleetwood's drumming for him.
Yeah.
So apparently, he was in awe. He came off. There's some clips on YouTube where he's just like beaming, so.
Yeah. Well, it's a completely different thing to Metallica, isn't it? It's kind of
big time.
Big difference. Just they'll be able to turn up without in amongst a lot of other people. Just turn up and play. I think lots of musicians like that sort of thing, don't they? The opportunity to turn up and play without without the pressure of.
I'll ask you a question, and I'll chuck it out to the guys in the chat too. So Kurt Hammett has a following. So he's playing Greenie, and he's pushing Greenie out there in social media, on his Instagram account, on his YouTube account. So how many young guys from the age of 15 to 35 who have never heard of Fleetwood Mac or Peter Green will be checking out Peter Green and Fleetwood Mac?
Well, I hope a few. I absolutely hope. And that is the continuing argument in lots of areas, isn't it? Kubrick Lover, good morning. How are you? Hope you're good. That the thing about, and I draw a parallel, but that thing about, if you want people to continue to listen to your music and discover you, in inverted commas, then you have to do something about it, don't you? You have to be positive about it in some way. I mean, my parallel is, that Rick Beato does those "What Makes This Song So Great," and his frustration when people come along, and who don't get, and then take his videos down. They actually physically get taken down because he's done, I don't know, a Yes song, or it's like, and his argument is, why would you do that? A million people will look at these videos of all ages, and they will be new to some people, because I've done Tool or somebody modern, and now I'm doing Yes. Why would Yes want to take down my videos?
Okay.
Because that is a bit of a scholarly thing. What makes this song so great? So you're digging into the song. It's not just playing it like a DJ.
Yeah, I think what he's alluding to though in that video, and I think it's very good though, and he makes a very good point about how YouTube are being scumbags, dirty rotten scumbags, because it's not. It'd be a different story if he was playing the whole song. What he's actually doing is he's playing 3 chords in a sequence, and what they're doing is they're going through and they're watching all these big channels, and they're all milking them. They're going to take them because of the money, Simon. That was the point, that he was making.
Well, it was, but the other part is that the bands. I think it's
not the band. It's not the bands.
But obviously that somehow the publishers or whoever controls those things is not only demonetizing them is different.
No, so what YouTube are doing? YouTube take that bill and they give that bill to the publishing. So they're actually doing the filtering on behalf, and they go and give it to the record companies or whatever, and the record companies will give YouTube. And and look, on my channel here, I've only got 160 people, so I don't, if they want to close my channel down for saying, you dirty rotten scumbags, for a commercial interest over the public good service of educating people in music theory. Come on, It's not as if he's
music history.
making a product and ripping off someone's song and not paying the royalties.
Yeah, completely, and that's really the point, isn't it? He's not saying, I'm not paying any. There's a publishing issue because it's not. The publishing, the money would go to the bands, and that's fine as it should do.
Yeah.
His point is that if you just take it all down, and if you just spend your life just taking all the stuff out, then people of a certain, generation, like you and I might still watch it, but people who are 15 are never going to have the opportunity to watch those things because they won't discover them. Because you know what it's like, it's a kind of linking thing, and you won't discover them because they won't ever turn up because, things get taken down. So how to play things, if you want to learn how to play a song and stuff like that, and those things get taken down, you get taken out of the public eye. And if you get taken out of the public eye, people are going to forget about you. So, I'm all for things like, the Peter Green thing, if that creates a new people who go back and discover Peter Green and discover that fantastic guitar playing and discovering, the music of that era as well.
I'm going to give a plug to Rick Beato too. Here, Simon. While you're still talking about him, while I remember, I bought his book, the Beato book, with one of his discounts.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Buy it.
Is it really good? Okay. Cool.
It's phenomenal.
Is it a proper teaching aid and kind of
Oh, it's 500 pages of just So if you guys want to check it out, and I'm a guy that's trying to work out a little bit more on pentatonic scales. So
completely,
I'm trying to, I don't want to learn to read music or anything like that, but I think a bit of music theory can't go wrong, Simon. You can't go wrong with a bit of music theory if that's what you want.
No, completely, and no, it's interesting that you've got to find the gateway into it, haven't you? Kind of thing. I've been sort of playing and just getting my head around all those different modes, like Mixolydian and Aeolian and all of that stuff via. I'll just give them a plug because they're really good. Elevated Jam Tracks.
Awesome.
Who's a British guy, I think, who does it.
I know that channel.
But it comes up. He does the first minute, and then he puts up the sort of whatever the Aeolian scale of in the key of the song he's already. The timing's been really good. Because you start to understand that all those things are linked together, and it's just a case of you're moving one note and you go to a different mode and stuff like that. It's a simple thing, and I've only just realized. I'm so stupid. I only just realized it, but it's a thank you, Kubrick. That was very kind of you.
Cheers, Kubrick.
I might post another one. I might follow. Post a picture of my gold one because everyone needs a gold guitar. But I think that those sorts of things. You need ins to things, don't you? That you get that pull you in, kind of a bit without you noticing, kind of thing. Which I think is
well, that's a big one, Great Van Zandt. Knowing major and minor. If you're a guitar player, you've got to know that. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you've got to know something.
You've got to know major and minor.
Even if it's sort of instinctual rather than, you still got to understand the difference between the two. Even if you're feeling it, rather than understanding the massive difference between major and minor pentatonics and stuff.
Simon, I was showing it. And I was told to listen to the difference. That's how I learned.
Ear training.
Yeah. And where to find them? Go three frets up or 3 frets down. Easy.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Completely. Yeah. It's Dave's saying nope. Dave, you lost already. Shall we go back to the beginning? Go back.
I just want to just acknowledge a comment that Kubrick lover made up here, that Prince didn't like any of his stuff on YouTube. It's not the artists that Simon and I and Rick Beato were talking about that were going through these big channels looking at all their videos. Rick Beato, Kubrick lover, was basically pointing the finger at YouTube, saying it was YouTube themselves going through, checking out, the songs. And look, I don't have a problem if Prince doesn't want his songs on YouTube. I don't have a problem if the Eagles don't want their songs on YouTube. But what Rick Beato was saying is, why can't I use 3 chords to illustrate a point for the public good to understand music theory? That's the point that Simon.
Yeah, it's an educational thing, isn't it? It's what's educational, but also I have seen him make the point, that other point, that if you just Kubrick, that's fine.
I'm just highlighting it. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point.
For the sake of education for everybody.
but just my other point is that whoever's driving it, probably music publisher, that demonetizing is one thing, so the bands get the money for things, that's fine.
Sure.
But taking them down so that you can't show this because it's it's my copyright and I'm not allowing you to even look at it. That is seemed in my world, that's cutting off your nose to spite your face. Because you actually. You want the artist to get paid, that's fine. I have no issues with that. But actually, the artist surely wants to reach newer and, younger audiences and find it, and people taking things down, like Queen, your video gets taken down. Boom.
Weird.
Gone.
Weird.
Before you even bloody started, and as I say, surely, guys, I don't think you're right that it's not the band themselves. It's the record companies, the publishers, YouTube.
Yes.
A combination of the three, who are doing it. But I think, as I say, that I just think, Led Zeppelin. It's yeah.
You got to be very careful how you can. So a couple. What's really interesting, and James, who's another channel who does guitar tutorials, he'll find backing tracks not by the original artist, by somebody else, and you can get away, and then you can play that, and then so he'll play the scale or the chords as a teaching tool. So. There are ways that we can, as guitarists and music lovers, get that information. But, I think Rick Beato was just showing Simon 3 chords, just da, da, da.
Yeah, they did get a bit silly at one point, didn't it? Where you just be playing and they're going, oh, that's so much. Like, no, it isn't. And then you've seen me in the, I've seen people get, copyright strikes from all sorts of weird places. Didn't one of YouTubers got a copyright strike from somebody in Brazil who had stolen his music and it was copyright claiming? Who was that? I can't remember who it was.
Oh,
was it Robert Baker?
Yes, the guy with the long blonde hair. Yes.
Yeah. Is it Robert Baker? It's like, is it, algorithms.
But Rick Beato, he said it's not algorithms. Because he's convinced that it's people watching the videos.
I think at some point it's people watching the videos, but I think at some other point it's also, and I know there's been weird stuff going on lately. Johnny Bean was saying that some of his videos from 10 years ago have been nuked and stuff, and you're thinking, that must be bots. That can't be real people.
Dave Simpson is another good guy too. So Dave Simpson, he's another English guy. So he went and redid his Peter Green guitar lessons. Dave, he went and did them because they were very helpful. He's had a series of Peter Green guitar lessons on his YouTube
Cool.
for about 6 years, 7 years. So they claimed two of his videos, Simon. So he had to go and redo them.
Yeah. See, Arvin got claims from CD Baby on his own songs as well.
Really?
Yeah, you've got to sue yourself, Arvin. No, you see.
Oh, wow.
This is the weird bit. You see,
Wow.
see as well. Blimey, see it. Yeah, it's the weird world of bots and algorithms, and very strange place we live now, don't we? You know, where the imperfections of technology, you know, yes, clever, but in so many ways not quite clever enough. So that's Wednesday we found about the lemon drop.
Yeah, that's the vintage brand Peter Green inspired Les Paul guitar.
Oh, right, it's called a lemon drop, is it? Okay, fine. Yeah. I mean, I think what John Fogerty from Seashore got sued over his own song, did he? Mind you, he had a lot of trouble with the with his. Backing tracks from Boss Tracks. I record over the Boss Tracks, claiming it as their own. So bloody hell! See, selling them on CD Bay for 99 cents. See, that's my point exactly.
Wow.
You know? People, all over the,
So you're playing a backing track on a Boss Roland through your YouTube channel, and someone's claiming that.
Somebody else is claiming it.
Yeah.
Not on behalf of Boss.
Not Roland, someone else. Simon's claiming that as my backing track.
It's their own. And
because I've got a CD of it.
Yeah. That I'm selling myself. Pirated CD. God dear. See, in the old days, you went down the market and bought pirated CDs off some dodgy store. Now it's a whole different level, isn't it? It's
that's amazing.
That's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
Very weird.
I still got it. I'll never get rid of it. I'll keep it. I'll never sell that guitar.
So, is it a real Gibson?
No.
It's not.
No, it's a
Is it a Gibson?
Yeah. But I'll always keep that guitar.
No, yeah, that's all right. Yeah. I've got a Chapman version of a Les Paul. I'm not suggesting I'm on Mount Moral high ground all of a sudden. What's that, Simon? Well, it looks like a Les Paul. Well, how much different is it to a Gibson? Yeah, not much.
I just think that Kubrick Glover, I think, obviously the corporates have just realised, how much money that they can cream off social media,
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Do you see the British guy Joss Allen got his channel hacked? And do you see this? It was the second time in about 4 weeks I've heard. There was another, I can't remember his name. But Joss Allen, he's a young guy. He did some work for Anderton's a bit. I mean, he now has a YouTube video with a young mate of his. And they got like 40,000 followers or whatever. And
I know who the guy is. Yep.
Yeah. And but apparently, Stephen Boston said that the people who'd taken over his channel, their channel, had uploaded like 35,000 videos. Anime stuff and films and also, and obviously people go and watch those things, and all of a sudden they've made several $1,000s off the back of it because they know that in 3 weeks' time, YouTube are actually 4 weeks' time, they're going to come and get it back. So there's there's a timing, but in those intervening, you can earn thousands of dollars in those intervening because you put them up, and people are watching them from all over the world because all of a sudden you've got a world market, and you redirect the payments to your different account, boom, and they make a lot of money off it. Yeah, but yeah, it was like someone correct. It was like 35,000 videos they'd uploaded or something, which is just astonishing. No, they don't. Well, Kubrick, yes, no, they don't. There's always a line about these things about. I like that. Is it 10 times better? Only 5.
because it's five
Nice
times
one.
the price.
Nice one. Yeah, 5 times the price. 5 times better.
Not 10, only 5 times.
No, no, that's him, Kenneth Russell. That was the guy. Yeah,
That's it.
that's right. Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, and they uploaded thousands of films and all sorts of stuff. He made a whole video of it. It's really worth watching because it's quite interesting. So he didn't have the dual security thing put up on his. I don't quite understand. Nobody's gonna hijack my channel, but it's that because I don't have it monetized, so that puts me out of the picture. But yeah, because but they, as I say, and he was saying how much money they'd earned from them, reviews and stuff. Because some of the things they put up had got hundreds of thousands of views. Films that they put up, illegal films, and Japanese anime stuff, and all sorts of things. Loads of stuff. And then people just watch them, and amazing. He's not sort of the Wild West. It could be like is the Wild West. But
there's a question there for you, Simon.
What's the most I have invested in a guitar? That's a technical question. Dave, I have 4 guitars. I have my old Fender Stratocaster, my Japanese Fender Stratocaster. That was about £450 when I bought it, something like that, 475. I have a Chapman ML1, which is like a Super Strat. That was £200. I've got a Chapman ML2 Classic, which is like a gold Les Paul. That was £600. And I've got a Telecaster that that technically is my most expensive guitar because it was on sale in the shop for £1,000. I only actually paid £300 for it because I got really lucky because I had a cheap Squire Strat that got stolen from my mate's shed, and he claimed on his house insurance for his very expensive Ernie Ball bass and my guitar, and he bought another Ernie Ball bass for sterling bass for about £1,800. So I bought a guitar for £100. Then I had £300 to spend, and they came round with this guitar. It's a 60th anniversary Telecaster, and it was £1,000 in the shop. But because it was second hand, they did me a deal. So basically, they did the guitar for £600. So I only had to pay. Yeah, it's a USA Fender. Wednesday talk. It's lovely. It's my telly. It's really nice. It's got all the gear. It's got the tweed case and everything. Yeah, but basically, I only paid £300 for it. So it's technically it is my most expensive guitar.
I just got a message from someone, Simon. I'm going to interrupt you before you finish your. Yeah. Happy birthday, Eric Clapton. I just got a message from. Yeah,
that's true. You put it on. I think I was going to. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So carry. No. Simon's guitar is made in.
What?
Your Fender?
Oh, my Fender. Or my Telecaster.
So your Telecaster is a made.
The Telecaster's US made. Yeah. The Telecaster is a US made one. Yeah. So it's
but your
my Strat is a Japanese one that I've had for 32 years. That's the one I posted on my Facebook page. My PV amp. So yeah, there's 32 years I've had my Strat for, and about 22 years for the PV, something like that. So I only have old stuff. But yeah. So I kind of hold on one second. So I'll go and get it. Hold on. I'll be 1 minute.
Sorry, guys. I'm just checking a couple of messages that have been sent to me. So yeah, Eric Clapton is it's his birthday today. So I know you watch the channel, Eric. When you're touring, so you're not touring these days. So happy birthday.
Right, here we go. Yes, happy birthday, Eric Clapton. Here we go. Dave, there you are. Look. Turn it around one way or the other. Strap out the way. So it's there you go. What colour is that? I don't know. It's kind of rosy, rose burst type of thing. But standard maple neck telly. ahead, and yeah, nothing fancy, nothing, but pretty cool. See that if I can get close up on that, you could see. Does it say? I can't see what it says. So yeah, it says 60th anniversary. 60 years of the Telecaster, 51 to 2011. So I think if I can get close, you can see if I'll focus on that. Can you see that? Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's cool. Interesting.
Awesome.
I don't. As I say, I sort of bought it. You know what it seems like. I mean, I went off to find another Strat because originally my Squire Strat that got stolen was my
T-Burst.
Yeah, T-Burst.
Is that what it's called? A T-Burst?
Is that what it's called? I don't know what it's called. It kind of has a slightly
Honeyburst?
Honeyburst, T-Burst. I don't. It's just slightly, the bit around the edge is slightly reddish. You can see what I mean. So it goes from kind of red to sort of
It's
yellow
beautiful.
and orange. It's nice, yeah. It's a nice, lovely guitar. Plays really well. It's really nice, yeah. It's a Fender. It's a Telecaster.
Oh yeah. There you go.
It's
You can't go wrong with a Strat. Can't go wrong with a Tele.
Yeah, hats off to Leo Fender. First two guitars, straight off the bat, put the perfect guitars. Boom.
Not bad, eh? Not bad at all.
It is bloody nice, Dave, and I was bloody lucky to get it for 300 quid. I mean,
Wow.
I'm not. Well, as I say, because most music shops can't do deals on new Fenders. They could do deals on old Fenders, second-hand Fenders. This was second-hand, basically, which is why they could. They gave it. They sold it to me for 600 quid. Of which, because I had 300 quid from the house insurance stuff, I don't, so I now had to pay the other 300 quid. So that's why I only got 300 quid. But it was on sale in the shop for £1,000.
Wow.
99, I think. So technically, it is my most expensive guitar, and it's the USA one. So, it's a thing. It's yeah. I've got my old Japanese Strat as well that I've has been with me for my number one guitar. It's the guitar I gig with all the time. It's it's the other Fender. But as I say, every time I pick him up, you take your hat off to Leo Fender. For like getting it right off the bat twice, and not a guitar player. Wednesday, I'm a keeper of my guitars. I've never sold a guitar. Well, except for the hideous monstrosity I had one. I've spoken about this as well. I had a terrible guitar from the 70s, but called a Jedson, and it was like it was a Telecaster shaped guitar, but you couldn't ever put it in tune. It was never in tune. 6 strings in perfect harmony. You could never get. And so more use playing cricket with it than playing music on it, sadly. But I have a feeling, looking back on it, that had I known anything about something called intonation and action and truss rods and those things, that I might have been able to make a bit more of it than. But in 1974, those words were the future for me. In 1974, there was no technical information about guitars that I'd ever read or ever seen or ever knew anything about. There weren't any guitar techs or anything like that I knew of. I live in Bristol, in the West Country in the UK. And so on that, so you're on your own, aren't you? So you either get a guitar that plays and will work, and if it doesn't work, you're completely knackered. There's no YouTube, no nothing. On trying to make it work, really. So
I've traded a few guitars over the years. I've traded up generally, Simon.
Yeah.
I've never been in a position, all my life to have a Stratocaster or a Gibson. I've never been in that position. I had a lot of copies, real cheap copies, made in Korea copies and some made in China copies. But having said that, though, I've still got some made in China guitars, which are very good. My Epiphones are made in China, and they're very good. I've got a custom Vibe Stratocaster made in China, but but I've had some regrets, too, getting rid of some guitars.
Get rid of some good ones.
Yeah, so the fact, Simon, that you've managed to pick up some good guitars early on, that's a great thing.
Well, for years, I only had one guitar. For years, I only had my Strat, my Japanese Strat, and for years, then I bought a second one because I thought I needed to have, if you break a string or whatever, that's a bit of a pain in the gig. You need to be able to just pick up another guitar and carry on. So, but for years, I only had two, and then as I got the Squire one got stolen, and so I bought another, got the Telly, and then I might have the Chapman already, the gold one, the Les Paul one, and this of course doesn't do what the Strat does. So I've got another guitar that does a slightly different thing. I wanted another Strat, so I bought I've got the 200 quid Chapman, which I put Sur pickups in, which is quite fun. Modding is fun. Yeah, so that sounds really good. It sounds really nice with the Sur pickup. I've got a Thornbucker in the bridge, and they're two single coil Sur 60s pickups that are really nice. Make it very stratty. So I have that as my second guitar in a gig because it will do what the Strat will do. Plus, it'll do some other stuff because it's got the Thornbucker as well. But that's really nice, and I like that guitar a lot actually. So it's funny, isn't it, how you kind of bond with guitars regardless of price or whatever.
Yep.
That Black Chapman I've got is I play that a lot. Probably
I'm a modder. I'd always recommend if somebody is questioning a guitar, I'd say, well, do some mod. My ES355 that I brought brand new, I swapped the pickups with Tone Zones, Tone Riders, and the guitar just remarkable. But I wouldn't do anything though to my custom Vibe 60s Strat, Simon. I won't touch those pickups because those pickups are perfect. I put a big block bridge in it, one of the proper Fender bridges, and that made a bit of a difference to the sustain. But I just want to ask Dave a question. So he's after a Firebird. Are you going to get a Gibson or an Epiphone? Because the Epiphones are pretty good, eh?
Is Dave looking to buy a Les Paul type thing?
A Firebird.
Oh, it's a Firebird.
Yeah.
So yes, he had a Brian Jones teardrop stinker by Hutchins guitars. Not even the right shape.
I've got about half a dozen amps.
I've got the principle of I've got 1.5.
Yeah.
Well, I got my PV Delta Blues, which is the one I use, and I've got a little transistor amp called a Ross, which is no one's ever heard of, I don't think. I have seen an association with Rory Gallagher with a Ross amp, but that's quite funny myself. But no, but I am in the process of looking to buy another amp. I'd like to buy a second amp, but I'm trying to work out. I told you this. I asked the question on that pedal show about what they could recommend as a sort of PV Delta Blues type substitute thing, whatever. Because the odd thing is I played a few Fenders. I played the new True Tone Fenders, which is cool. The Fender sound, that kind of scooped mid sound bit, because that's not what my PV does. My PV Delta Blues doesn't do that. It's kind of quite flat. It does a lot, across the frequency bands. That's fairly flat, not that scooped mid. So I'm not really into the Fender sound, if you like. So I was looking for something else. So I asked, BV Ninja. asked on my behalf, which is very nice of him. Very, very nice of him. Because I'd asked a couple of times and they hadn't noticed. So he asked on my behalf and they answered. And Mick Taylor said, well, get a 15-inch cab and get an amp to go on top of it. Which was like, ooh, that's a dip. I hadn't thought of that. That's an interesting answer, I thought. So, so at some point,
What's the
go on.
channel later on, Kubrick Glover? Because I've got plenty of time and I intend to go through and do an inventory video. But I've got a Fender Vibrolux Reverb. I've got a Marshall Origin. I've got a Blues Breaker 007. I've got a Vox Super Beetle Mini, and I've got a couple of Yamaha TH amps. I've got the TH30 and the TH10, and they're phenomenal guitar amps, modeling amps. And I think I've got another amp somewhere, another combo that I've loaned out to Carl. What's Carl got? Carl's got yeah. So, but having said that, though, I was a valve snob for a long time. I'm not a valve snob anymore. I think the modeling stuff that you've got, my aux box here that I play through has some phenomenal effects, but you have to play that though through a head, through an amp. So that's okay. But check out the Yamaha THR amps if you guys want something that's portable, that's really good and affordable. Check them out. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with the Mustang.
Is the THR 30 a 30 watt amp?
Yeah.
Or is it,
yeah.
Okay. So it's gigawatt. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Blues Break. Yes. So Wednesday, Dave, he didn't say victory amps. He just said get a 15-inch cab, which is the thing, because my PVW has got a 15-inch speaker, which gives it a distinctive sound. And actually, that's it. He didn't say and then buy a Victory, although that's a good option. I think, the Duchess or the Countess, one of the two. I think that's a pretty good option. That but yeah, the interesting bit was that's what he said: buy a 15-inch speaker cab and then buy an amp, separate amp head, which I thought was a really interesting point, and I hadn't thought of it like that at all because I've been thinking in combo terms.
You can't go wrong with a Fender Mustang. You can't go wrong. I've got a couple of very good friends of mine who've got Mustangs, and you can dial in some awesome tones.
And they're bloody loud.
Yes.
Yeah. I had a go on one of a friend of mine who's in the band that you got a one-time 15 of you, Dave. What is it? Just a generic one, or did you buy it, or where's it from?
Dave's been a bit modest there. He's got some awesome vintage gear. He's got some good shit.
It's awesome shit. Well done. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. It's all a voyage, isn't it, of discovery. I mean, it's Dave, I just want a 65 Fender. Have you got a 65 Fender Showman?
Yeah.
Is that the cab or the amp as well? Or
Both.
Is it combo? Yeah. Wow, that's pretty cool. I'd like to hear that. Yeah, you see, interesting that go back to your, I played that new, the new Fender True Tones, the one which is the transistor amp, but it sounds like, the Blues Deluxe or whatever, the Fender Blues Twin. Oh, it sounds like it, all right. It definitely sounded like it, and it's about half the weight. You could pick it up, If I was a gigging musician and I was going out on the road, I have one of those to take out. Absolutely, I would, because it it doesn't get bashed up and something like that. It's very less likely to break than your glass tubes and all of that stuff.
This is why we need to get Dave on the show, Simon, so he can show us his Tammy show setup.
Yes, Dave. We're now into cyberbullying territory. Dave, what are you doing?
Everyone in the chat, cyberbullying Dave.
Dave, it's coming on. You can wear a false beard and moustache if you don't want to be recognised, Dave. But
cyberbully him, please, everybody. Arvin, Kubrick Glover,
and we'll call you Wednesday.
cyberbullying for us.
There's sop to disguising your real self.
Great, Benzini. I'd be keen to talk to you when you're on the show with Simon and I, when you're going to illustrate some of your gear for us.
Yeah.
I'll be keen to see what you think about your Yamaha. I see you've made a comment here that you love it and you can play it all day long. Yeah, they're fantastic. Yeah, the settings are awesome. Well,
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I guess everyone seems to have it, don't they? I mean, Jay Hannah's got one, Johnny Bean's got one. You know, anyone seems to have a. I won't include me, but it seems to have a. And yes, we'll have on blank. Yes. Yeah. So I mean, the TH10 is a home amp for home practicing kind of thing. The TH30, I mean, is that a gigable amp?
Oh well,
no props.
So yes, certainly. So it's rechargeable,
right?
And the good thing with this one here is that you've got your line out, so you can go to powered monitors. It plays the 3 different types. You've got the THR, which is the classic, the THR X, which is the high gain amps, and the THRC, which is the boutique amps. So, yeah, awesome.
So, which one have you got? The THR.
Now
this the X.
Yeah. So this is all 3.
Oh right. Oh okay.
Yeah.
You've got 3 different sounds. Yeah. I understand.
Yeah. Because I had the single version amps, but got rid of them when they came out with this one here. So I'm not a Valve snob anymore.
No. Well, I've never been. I don't know if I've ever been a Valve snob particularly. I think. I mean, I started off with a Carlsbro transistor. I don't remember what it was. When we first started playing in the band, I got a Carlsbro, transistor amp, which I liked. I didn't like it. It just wasn't loud enough in a band context. When we got a drummer, it wasn't loud enough, and it took it going. So I went from this Carlsbro transistor amp to a high watt 100 watt. No one's going to drown me out.
Well, the good thing about the Octave is that you can cramp these Valve amps up, which is what you couldn't do unless I was gigging with Carl and another guy called Roger that I hang out with once a month. But at home you can't crank these up, as you know, Simon. You can't. But with the Oxbox, you can crank them up. And Dave knows because he's got an Oxbox. In fact, I got the Oxbox because he told me to get one. But yeah. When I say, Simon, I've got to qualify the fact about what I said earlier. When I said that I was a Valve snob, I believe that you could only get the authentic tones through Valves.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not convinced that that's the case anymore, because the modeling gear that's coming out now, it's very...
Yeah, completely. Oh, yeah. And also, it, to some extent, as soon as you put pedals in front of anything, then your amp just becomes a vehicle for creating the sound of those pedals, doesn't it? You can alter your sound on the pedals to whatever you like. And I think then, what the amp sounds like. Maybe I'm wrong about this, but I'm positing as a theory that actually, what you want is the sound of the pedals or the sound of whatever you're using, not the amp is just the vehicle for producing the sound. And it doesn't matter then whether it's a transistor amp or a Valve amp or whatever kind of amp, really. There's a vibe about them for sure. I love playing my my PV Delta Blues, but mostly I plug straight in. Set it up, plug it straight in, and I play it clean like that. Lovely, sounds fantastic. That big kind of 15-inch speaker, giving you some. But it sounds great. But I don't.
One of the things that you'll discover, Kubrick Glover, when you progress with your guitar playing, is that it's not necessarily about one playing rhythm and one playing lead when you're jamming with a guy. we'll do what ZZ Top did when they first got together. You know, they jammed for 3 hours. We'll jam an E blues for an hour and a half, and because we know some basic theory about playing some chords, and you know, it's a little bit of improvisation and some pentatonic scales. So you take turns, and Simon will agree with that. You know, that's some of the great stuff. So you know, and it's it's a wink and a look that you'll give. You know, like I'll play something. You know, for a couple of minutes, and then you know. But I also play the bass as well too, because I give Carl an opportunity to play, because he's a very good guitar player, and I love playing the bass. So I just love it. So, and he'll never play bass because he just doesn't have time, which is really interesting, because you can be a really, really good guitar player, but the time that you have when you want to go and play bass is just completely different.
Yeah. I understand about bass. One of its functions is to give a tone to the bass drum. So you've got playing time with the bass drum. You know, so kind of that's what your job is, to kind of, you know, melodicize the bass drum. So you've got to be tight with the bass drum when you're playing, which is not something you have to do when you're a guitar player. It's so Kubrick Love's got a question for you. What do you and Carl? Oh, I'm sorry, we've answered that. It's I agree. It's an hour and a half. I was just thinking an hour and a half of a blues in E, and we're called the Grateful Deaf.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Love it.
But I take Wednesday Dave's point. You know, solid state pedals. You know, soon you put other stuff in front of your amp.
Yeah.
My theory is that it becomes much more a vehicle for those things, and then you know then. In a sense, you're taking on the character of the pedals as much as you are the character of the amp. Now, I could be wrong about that, but that's kind of my feeling about it. You know, if you've got a Strymon whatever, Big Sky, and you've got a, you know, D&M drive, and you've got a this, that, and the other, you know, that what you want is the sound of those drives and those pedals, and the amp is the vehicle then. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah.
I look, Simon, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
So for years I played my Vibrolux with this overdrive.
Yeah, full tone. Yeah.
Okay. So the good thing with this overdrive is that, you know, when I was jamming and playing live, so it was great. It would give you that boost. But in a bedroom situation, you can turn it down and still get that crunch. That's the great thing with the pedal. The pedal gives you the ability to play at a reasonable level if your guitar amp doesn't have a master volume.
That's right, and I've heard that. Obviously, that some people, they play like, you know, with a Boss blues driver, but you take all the drive off, don't you?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard people do that kind of thing and stuff like that. So, you know, so you are altering the tone subtly, but you know, that tone is produced. See, this is an interesting thing, isn't it? If you've got a pedal chain, and you've got 3 pedals on, how much of your sound is the pedals, and how much of it is the amp you're going into?
That's why you have to go and crank your amp up as loud as you can, as soon as you can, so that you actually know what your amp can do.
Yeah.
That's always my first advice. You know, if you're going to buy a 40-watt amp, go somewhere,
turn it up,
and put some earphones on, some headphones or earplugs or something, and just crank it up and lean into it.
Oh yeah, that's fun. All right, yeah. You try that with a high watt 100-watt.
No.
Good grief.
No.
No, don't try that with a 100-watt. Really?
I
have done it. Blimey, you know, turn it up to 7, see what happens.
No.
Well, I can tell you what happens. Your hair goes.
Your hair's going horizontal.
Yeah. Your teeth are cracking. Man alive. God, that's a sound and a half. That is, I tell you. Turn that up to 7.
All right. Look, mate,
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to please excuse me and ask if I can
Look,
cut the
you've
show
got to
short.
go for dinner.
But
Feed the
the next
family.
time we
Yeah.
come on, we'll have Great Vanzini is going to talk to us a bit about some of his gear.
Arvin, that's a really good point. That is a really good point. He says he's got a bunch of overdrives, but ends up making them all sound like each other.
Yeah.
Because you've got one sound that you really like. So you do to, oh, there it is. That's what I like. Oh, it sounds like this other one. Yes.
And no one bullied Dave Wednesday's store about coming on the show.
Yeah, Dave.
Guys,
No.
do some bullying.
Yeah, Dave, come on. See, I don't get fuzz. Do you get fuzz? I don't get fuzz.
No. I had a fuzz.
Fun.
I had one of those red fuzz pedals for 3 days. Bought it on the Friday, sold it on the Monday. It's not me. I'm not a fuzz.
No, me neither. I don't get it at all. That great just sounds like to me. Because I'm not Jimi Hendrix, if I don't understand fuzz. That's my excuse.
Yeah,
I'm not a modulation and stuff, but things. But no, fuzz is not my thing at all. Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you very much. So we've got Dave, Wednesday Store, Great Vanzini, Arvin, Kubrick Lover, of course, Kubrick Lover. And who do we have at the beginning? We had John. Sonia, of course. Thanks, Sonia. Stay safe in the world, you guys. And Ed Wards at the beginning we had as well. Hopefully I got everybody. Embarrassing to miss somebody. Yeah, guys, so please stay safe, stay indoors, stay safe. And yes, except Wednesday Store, who's a key worker and has to get to work.
Yeah.
I have to get to work too, but I can't leave the house. I don't need to.
But yeah, Tom and I are going to go live in a couple of days' time. So
similar time.
Yeah. Appreciate the support, guys, and we'll see you in a couple of days.
Yeah, take care all. See you on Wednesday.